Hi, everyone. Welcome to Relatively Sane. It's Jessica Kirson. Thank you so much for listening. I decided to use this intro to talk about chips. I know that sounds weird, but chips are very important to me. You know, there's so much going on in the world that I just been trying to talk about random shit that is not heavy. I mean, chips make me heavy. They make me heavier every week. I have definitely gained about 5 pounds, which does not sound like a lot, but that could turn into 500. I mean, with me, I can really go nuts. So I have to always keep that in check. So I'm going to have to give up the chips again. But what are your favorite kind? I mean, I love potato chips. I really do. As a lot of you know, I was really into popcorn for a while. So I was just shoving popcorn in my face. And I feel like some people that don't know me or don't really follow me don't understand what I'm talking about, but I would get as much popcorn as I could in my fist and then just slam it into my face. Like there was no eating one at a time there was popcorn all over me. It was in my teeth. I just was always covered in it. It's like I had popcorn dandruff. But now I'm having a thing with potato chips. Like it never ends. And I'm going to rank them. I think that the sour cream and onion are my favorite. I also love the cheddar cheese and sour cream. Do you know those? And what other kinds are there? I like ruffled. I love the crunchy ones that are like bent in a knot because they're just crunchier, like because I'm so angry. So I love just slamming my teeth into them. And I like barbecue. I like them a lot. Trust me, I would eat barbecue chips, but they're not on the top of my list. I'm also now going back to Doritos a little. Oh, God. You know, I was on the Tostitos for a while because it's corn, so it's not really a carb. I always say that. It's a serving of vegetables. But now I'm into the Doritos. I have to nip it in the bud. I don't even know what that expression means, nip it in the bud. Is that like a gardening expression? Oh, God, life is so hard. But thank God we have laughter, and thank God we can be silly and just let go. Please promise me that you are still laughing as much as you can. Watch some funny videos, act silly, dance in your house. I dance in my house a lot. I dance on... Like, I was just going to say I pole dance, but that's so not believable. I can't even basically stand and hold the pole. Forget about lifting myself up. How do people do that? It's really hard. It's amazing what they do. It's very sexy to me, but boy, that seems really hard. I can't even jump in place. Oh, I got to get healthy. I really do. I literally just thought I walk up and down the stairs in my house, but I really want to get that chair thing that lifts you up to the top stair. I'm exhausted from doing nothing. I really am. I love you all. I love being silly with you. Please keep in touch. Don't forget I'm doing cameos. I've been getting a lot of cameo requests where I can make private videos to your friends and family and animals and chairs. I'll do a video to your chair. I don't give a shit. I love you. I appreciate all of you. Stay in touch. Spread the word about the I almost just said the Patreon. Spread the word about the podcast. You guys are the best. Sending love. Be silly.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Relatively Sane. I am here today with my friend, Michael Yo.
Hello. I love you, first of all. I love you.
I love that you started with that. That's so nice.
Well, I think we need to hear that.
Yeah,
like people
we
we
do.
really appreciate and love. I think we need to tell them. And I think with all this crazy shit that's going on in the world, it's nice to hear I love you, and I appreciate you.
It's especially nice now. You're right. It really
Yeah,
is.
absolutely. Because it's just,
I know.
I mean, this world is, it's all about hate now.
What's going
And
on? I keep saying that like I sound like I'm a crazy person, but
No,
I
you're
literally I look on the news. No, I don't look at the news actually, but I every day now. It used to be every week something major would happen, but literally every day I'm like, what is happening? This is not
I
even like
can't
small stuff, like huge stuff.
I can't wait till politics is boring again.
I know.
Remember those days?
I know.
You didn't even care. Like it's like you didn't even pay attention to
I
politics. I
know.
can't wait to get back to those days. But I just think with our president, he's fueling hate, and that's his thing. That's it. That's how he won the election. And I don't feel though it's gonna work the second time
I
because
don't
people
either.
fool me once. I don't think he's gonna fool them twice
I
because
don't either. I
yeah.
had
What's your thoughts on that?
well, my mom said last night to me on the phone, and he's gonna fucking win. First of all, my mother is it's funny because she is the kindest, most loving, most gentle she's a therapist. She is like an old hippie. Doesn't, I'll talk about people and she'll be like, don't talk about someone that way. You don't know where they came from. I mean, it's driven me crazy my whole life. I'm like, can you just be mean or like lie? Can you do something? But she's like, why can't they just kill him already? I mean, she has lost her mind. I know. She doesn't mean it, but that's literally where she is now.
I mean, we're all going crazy
Right.
because this is so weird to me that for the people that are like me, that are like you, we listen because we hear bullshit all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We listen to it. We see him lie. There's video of him lying. He's saying the video is not real. And certain people are like, yeah, it's not real.
Well,
like, I don't understand.
I have a very good explanation for that.
Please tell me
And
why
I
this is
am
happening.
convinced of this, and I say it a
What
lot
is it?
on Twitter, and some people are like, that's deep. This reminds me of the father. Now, my dad wasn't an alcoholic, but I understand this in other ways, not with drinking. He's the dad or the mom, but mostly the dad, who was either a drunk and very abusive, and you had to watch what you said around him, and everyone made excuses. So basically everyone surrounding him, his family, everyone works for him, needs to go to Al-Anon, but for fueling a politician.
Yeah.
Giving him the booze, the crack, the gambling, the women, everything, okay? He's mentally ill. I really believe this. It's like the people on My 600-Pound Life that are, who's giving them the fucking food?
Yeah.
Like they're not going
You're
to get
part
them.
of the problem.
He's mentally ill, so you can't even. I understand that on a deep level. So I just feel like they're always like, Dad didn't mean to smash Mom's head into the wall. She spoke to him when he was opening his mail. You can't. Dad had a hard day. Dad stressed out. Business isn't good. That's the people that make it okay. I'm telling you.
Here's what's interesting to me is we live in America. It's the most outspoken country. And with the Republican side, and I don't know if you've seen Dave Chappelle's new special. I haven't yet.
I haven't, but I heard it's unreal.
Yeah. And I think he addresses something like this. It's kind of like, he talks about the Republicans, and I don't know if I could believe in Republicans anymore. And I was talking about my dad. He went through segregation. Mm-hmm. He had to fight just to be in school. His the restaurants on his college campus didn't serve colors. So he led protests. So he was a protester.
Wow.
And it's a thing where my dad is even shocked that white Republicans with voices, don't say anything. And they just let them do this.
I know, because they don't want to lose the election.
Amazing.
They don't. That's all they care about is power, money, and religion. Their religion.
And how do you justify religion? How do you justify religion with this dude?
I agree with you 100%, but it's more.
I don't understand that.
Right, but it's more important for them to abolish abortion. It's not even. I don't even think it's about the principles that they once stood on with the money and the small government and all of that. It's way beyond that now.
But it's amazing that you stop abortion, you can do anything else you want to do. You can be the crappiest person on earth, but as long as you got our back for abortion, we're going to overlook that. And by the way,
it is what's happening.
We preach God's word. It's like, come on now. This whole thing is making now religion a joke. For people that hardcore believe in it, You're like, well, how can you believe in? And these are some religious people. I don't want to put all religious people because
It's a tough one.
it's a
Orthodox
tough
people
one.
would love me to be more Jewish. They have tried. I've done more Orthodox shows. I have done. They always try to sell me on it. They try to get me to be kosher and to observe Shabbat. I'm like, why? Why would I want to do that when you don't even accept my lifestyle? Like it's like. It's not appealing to me. And I feel like you're right. They're not selling religion well. Like it's like anyone who sees what's going on is going to be like, I can't wait to go to church.
Yeah, and you're going, well, Trump's our guy, but how is he your guy? Because you wouldn't want any one of your family members to. This is a guy you would not invite over for dinner. You know what I mean? Like,
Some of them love him though. They think he was sent by God. I mean, really.
Yeah, but that goes to the deeper reason. I'm trying to figure out why they love him. Because just like you, when I do my podcast, I try to think about both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand why Trump got elected
Mm-hmm.
because I married a white woman. Her parents are Republicans. They voted for Trump because they're small business owners. They didn't know anything about him. They're just like, oh, he's going to help our small business. Now it's like, holy shit. This dude is crazy.
Do they say they made a mistake?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I haven't spoken to anyone yet who's been like, oh my God, I should not have voted for him.
Well, I just feel, I think it's going to be those fringe voters that are in the middle.
Yeah.
That went for him, because I think a lot of small business owners were like, yo, why not? I'm losing all my stuff. When Obama was in there, the taxes are higher. This is higher. Healthcare, insurance. I'm going to roll with Trump because I need a better lifestyle. Then we hit this pandemic, which wasn't Trump's fault, but the way he handled it in America was his fault.
Right.
And then the stock market is everywhere. So I just really try to figure out, because on my podcast, I talk about both sides. I want to know why people believe in Trump still. Now, you could be like, look, and this is for some Trump voters. I don't want to put everybody in the back. You could be like, yo, I'm racist. I don't like black people.
I would
Asian
love it if
people.
someone were just that fucking honest.
I'm going to roll with Trump. I would rather hear that than you not say anything.
Me too. I'd rather someone say, I'm a racist. I want the country to be, I want white people to, I don't want people who aren't white in this country, or I care too much about money, so I'm going to vote for him no matter what, even if I hate him. Like, just be honest about it.
How refreshing would that be if just a politician was like, yo, I'm racist, I'm rolling with Trump?
That is hilarious. Can you imagine?
That would be amazing. But I guarantee you more people would respect that dude and be like, yo, he's being honest at least, you know, than to have all these people in Congress on the Republican side not saying a word, just like, or dodging question. Oh, I didn't see his tweet. Oh, I don't know why we're talking about tweets.
It's hard for comics. It's hard for us because we see everything and we see the truth and we're truth tellers. So for me, it's like, hello. Like, I just want to go like, no. There's something going on. There's a building burning. Well, how are you walking past that and not seeing if people are dying inside? Like, what are you doing?
You know why? Because nobody they know is inside
I
that
know.
building. So they don't care. They don't care. And look, I'm not going to say excuse Democrat. I'm an independent. I vote for the best person. Democrats do bad shit too. I think all politicians do bad shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's the next level now where, yo, we got to make some changes, or it could get, just think how crazy it is now.
No, my mom has said, I'm not kidding, this is way before the pandemic and way before anything. She said, she's like, Jessica, there's going to be some kind of civil war. And she didn't mean like people out with whatever that means. But there is going to be violence, and there is, because people are so divided and there's so much hatred that it's going to happen. And now the pandemic happened. So it's like, oh my God, it's adding fuel to the fire.
Well, I like I said, I try to find both sides. Look, I think there is a great thing about Trump being president. And I think people have teamed up together that would never have teamed up. Because as soon as Trump got elected, you had the Women's March. 500,000 women march. You had Americans coming out for Muslims when he was talking about Muslims. You had Americans coming out for these children in Mexico that were getting put in cages. You had everybody.
That's actually very true. I never thought of it like that, but
It's
it's
almost
true.
like Avengers. You know, like the Democrats and the people that, I won't even make it politics, but people that just want to do good in the world and have everybody love each other, they are teaming together now. You know, and I think that's the good thing about Trump, because what Trump did was put a mirror to America and go, yo, this is what you really are. You know, if America could look in the mirror, it is Trump. Selfies, self-absorbed, drama, reality shows, fights. That's what we are.
That's very true. Eating fast food. I mean, it's all, I
mean, you don't get more America than Donald Trump right now, because he's all the bad things that we do. So I think it's America. We're looking in the face, and you know, when you look in the mirror, you go, I think that's what's happening now.
In every way,
I used to look good 4 years ago, but now I'm kind of losing it. I need to go back to the gym and get right. You know, so I think that's what's happening.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Houston, Texas, and my dad's Black and my mom's Korean. So I dealt with a lot growing up. So this is
really interesting for someone like you. I'm serious.
Yeah.
It is.
No,
it's like being Jewish. When certain things happen, it impacts me more emotionally than other people, or when there's stuff with gay people. Or so, how are you feeling about? I mean,
well, you know, I look at positive. I'm a very positive guy. You know, I always try to find the best, and I feel really good about the country right now. I was enraged when I saw the George Floyd video.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how you felt about that.
I felt so mad about that, because me being like, for some white people to come out and say there's no racism, which we've heard, I'm half Black, and I realize that darker Black people get treated way worse than me.
They do. They do. I see it.
Yeah, and I'm half Black. I've been pulled over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been harassed. You know, I grew up in Houston, Texas, where my parents were the only interracial couple I saw for the first 10, 11 years of my life, maybe even 15 years. So I got called the nigga chank word, you know, because I went to a school. I got called air chink because I was good at basketball. But my dad, being a protester and always wanted social justice and has a PhD in nuclear physics.
Wow. You know, you have such an interesting background. Yeah.
He's such a positive guy. And what I tell everybody, he is a guy that I've never heard say one thing about negative people. Even after they like wouldn't let him in restaurants, he's just not, he's like, there are ignorant people everywhere, all different kind of colors. So don't fall into their trap. Just do you, you know? And that's what I try to do. And he says, I remember he said, you got a gift of communication.
Mm-hmm.
And just whatever you do, tell the truth and bring the people together, you know? And
that's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like that more so now than ever. Like I feel weird. I would feel weird when I go back on stage just telling jokes. Like I feel like I need to say something. I need to make a difference.
You know what? I think, and this is the danger, because I think all comics feel that right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think an audience, no matter how funny it is, they don't want to be preached to.
I know.
They do not want to be preached to, especially after they see it on TV 24/7. But you got to, like my dad said, you got to do you. And I have amazing stories from growing up. Like, for instance, I'll tell one about my wife recently.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how the Black Lives Matter movement hit home to me. And I tell everybody, some people are just racist, but I would say more than that, a lot of people are just uneducated about race.
Absolutely.
And they're not racist, they just don't know.
They don't.
You know?
Yeah.
So me, my wife, this is before the pandemic, about 6 months ago, me, my wife, our son, my wife was still pregnant, her mom and dad at a restaurant. So I leave the restaurant to get the car to come pick them up. I go around the corner. I'm at a light where I got to turn left into the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Cop comes behind me, shines his lights for no reason. I look over and my wife and her mother are outside with my son, and they're waving and laughing. The light turned green. The cop pulls off. He wasn't after me. He was after somebody else. I get home. She goes, her mom and my wife go, wasn't that funny? I bet you thought the cop was pulling you over. And I go, you know what I just was thinking in the car? I hope I get to see my wife again. I hope I get to see my son again. My hands are on the steering wheel. I took my wallet out, put it on the dash so I wouldn't have to reach back for it. Like I did all this in the 8 to 10 seconds the cop was behind me.
I know.
And to my wife and them, they thought it was funny. Mm-hmm. But to me, growing up, being a person of color, mm-hmm. I was like, my wife is, I hope I get to see my daughter. All this is going through my mind.
It went through my mind too. Because I see every, the fear you must have had in that however many seconds.
That's funny to somebody else because they don't know. So when we got home, mm-hmm. they said, I bet you thought it was funny the cop was going to pull you over. I gave the fake laugh. And then when the mom left, I go, honey, this is serious. Like, I didn't know if I was going to be home tonight. And she never got that till that moment.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
She just never dealt. She's white, blonde hair, blue eyes from Wyoming.
Wow, what a great combination. Wyoming is the most beautiful place. It's stunning.
I've never been, but she tells me how great it is.
Oh, it's breathtaking. And I've traveled a lot.
Could you be a person like Dave Chappelle that like you reach a certain point, you're like, I'm going to a ranch. I'm just getting away.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh God, as I've gotten older, the more I don't want to be around big crowds and have small talk that means nothing. I can't do it.
Yes.
How are you? Good. How are you? What's going on? Nothing. What's going on with you? Nothing. It's like, I can't fucking do it anymore. And people are very upsetting to me right now. Like I don't really love people right now at all.
Yeah.
And so
I'm the same way.
The feeling of just being on a ranch on my land with people I love. Yeah. I never thought I'd ever say that, but I could go for that now. If it's that or being around angry, enraged, mean-spirited, stupid people. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I told my wife, I love Los Angeles. It's where my job is, but I can't wait to move out of Los Angeles mm-hmm. and live in a place that's just, it could be in like I wouldn't even mind a Las Vegas, but you live way out.
Yeah.
You don't even live close. Like just to get away. And then it's almost like, okay, I'm going into the madness. I'm gonna drive into LA today, and stay there for a couple of days and then check out, So when you're gone, you're gone. When you live in New York City, when you live in LA, you're always in it.
Yeah. You're in it. We're in it. That's so true.
And I feel like I'm 45. So I'm getting to the point where it's like, I love comedy. I love stand-up. I want to get to a point where I'm headlining, but I want to get to a point where I'm making more money headlining.
Yeah.
And then I'm gone.
I'm the exact same way.
I'm gone. I'm gone. I'm gonna do the they have some comedians that live in Arizona, that live in Vegas, and they just pop to different cities.
Oh, like, I'll do that that's my dream.
My dream too.
Maybe 2 weekends a month or 4 one-nighters. Oh, that's heaven.
Like I tell people, I'm not trying to be rich. I just want to be comfortable and just work when I want to work. Yeah. I mean, that's the American dream.
Yeah, yeah. Where did you go to college?
I went to college, University of Arkansas, but I dropped out after my second year because I got too many concussions playing football.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. So, and this was before concussions was a thing, so I got out and luckily my mom got me out of football and I never even thought about being a stand-up comedian until I was on Chelsea Lately. And I was on that show and I was the reporter and surrounded by phenomenal comedians.
Were you an actor at the time and then you got hired as a reporter?
Everything, you know what? It's funny how everything just falls into place.
Yeah.
I'd never been on TV. The boss of E! At the time, way back in the day, heard me on the radio and goes, we need that personality on TV. Look them up. And without any TV experience, they hired me.
What? First of all, what were you doing on the radio?
I had a huge radio show in Miami, an afternoon drive show. It was the biggest afternoon drive show in Miami. So every celebrity would come on it. So he heard a celebrity. Nick Lachey just broke up with Jessica, and I'm the only one that interviewed him because we were friends. He heard the interview and goes, "Yo, we need that guy."
That's crazy. Like you just don't hear stuff like that. It's insane.
No TV experience. Listen, no TV experience. I go, I never even thought about being on TV. I said no. I just want to do radio. I said no for 6. Yeah, I said no for 6 months. I said I built this afternoon show. I'm not going to leave.
I wouldn't either. Radio sounds
So, and this was years ago. So then he goes, "What if we build you a studio so you can still do your radio show and TV?" And I was like, "I don't have an agent. I'm just myself. I don't even know nothing about the industry." But I don't want to leave Miami. So I go, "Yeah, you build me a radio studio. I'll show up. But as long as I can do my radio show and get paid from it."
Right.
He goes, "Fine." I show up to E, no experience in TV.
Mm-hmm.
They built me a studio right across from Ryan Seacrest. So I see Ryan Seacrest walking into a studio. He's like, "Hey, what's up, Michael Yo?" I'm like,
this sounds like
real?
A dream. Yeah.
Yeah. And let me tell you something. I tell everybody, when you live in other cities besides New York or LA, and this is why I tell everybody go after their dreams. It seems so far away. Like Ryan, this was American Idol at its peak, 38 million people watching it.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Ryan, you go, "Oh man, I could never be that." But then when you see him pass you and he says, "What's up to you?" every morning.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, I can do that." Oh, yeah, I can definitely do it because it makes it real.
Yes.
So that's what I really learned. And from that, Chelsea came on the radio show, said, "If I ever get my TV show on E, you could be on it." Held her word.
It's insane.
Held her word. Even though I was, they made fun of me because I always had to defend the celebrity, but that was my shtick because I couldn't talk shit about a celebrity because I had to interview him,
Right.
So it was a great shtick. And she is one of the most loyal people. If she likes you, she likes you.
Yeah.
If she's right or die. I love her. I love her.
There's a bunch of people like that. I mean, Rosie's like that. De Niro's like the people I've worked with. It's like, if they like you, you are in. And
if they don't, you are out.
I know. At least it's real. It's real.
And there's no middle ground.
Yeah.
I think that should be a lot of people. I'm trying to get that way too, where you just want to not associate with the people you don't like.
I think you have to be like that now.
Yeah.
We don't have time to screw around anymore and try to get to know. I know someone the minute I start talking to them, it's like, you just know people.
Yeah, and if they're gonna, especially us, we see crowds every night.
Mm-hmm.
When you walk on a stage, within the first 10 seconds, you could be like, "That's an asshole. He's gonna start trouble."
Of course. Yeah, I feel it the minute I walk into a room. I can tell what's going on. So, what was your first show like? Where did you first do stand up? Did you just go on stage?
No. So I went on Chelsea lately. This was funny. I tweeted because everywhere I would go, since I was on this show and it was at its highest point, E would fly me around to interview celebrities. So everywhere I would stop, people go, "Where are you performing? Where are you performing?" And I was like, "Perform what?" They go, "Stand up. Aren't you a stand up?" I go, "No."
Yeah.
I know. But after the 4th and 5th time, I was like, "Oh, I should try this out."
Yeah, why not?
So I tweeted it the day before I was on Chelsea. She called me out on it. She goes, "Oh, you think you just," because I said, "I think I'm going to try stand up." On the show in front of all the, she embarrasses me. She goes, "Oh, you're just going to try stand up? You think it's that easy?" And I'm ignorant to stand up. I go, "Yeah, I see y'all do it. It doesn't look too hard." And everybody gives me shit. 2 weeks later, I do it at the Miami Improv. And at the time, it was one of the hardest clubs. It's an ethnic club at that time. But I had a big radio show in Miami. So I sold it out. And I did 12 minutes.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I did like 4 the first time.
But this is another thing I tell people. I didn't know anything. I didn't know you're supposed to start with 3, go to 6, go to 12, go to 15, go to 20. When you don't know the rules on something, you just kind of go for it. So they said, "Watch the light." I didn't know what a light was.
You're like, the light bulbs look really new.
Yeah. Okay. I'm so amped up. They go, "Okay, get off when the light comes on." I'll go, okay. I don't know what a light is. Yeah. I'm up there. I'm supposed to do 4 minutes. I'm up there almost 16 minutes.
Oh,
16 minutes, my first time. But it worked because everybody was there to support me. That was the big shtick on the radio. Michael's going to try. Chelsea Lately's Michael Yo's going to try stand up for the first time. So everybody in the room was very supportive. So I just did crowd work, hung out, and my friend taped the set, so I still got it. And I got off the stage. I called my mom and go, this is what I was born to do. I love it so much.
That's
I
great.
love it so much. It's really like a piece of me is missing. And I'm sure it's the same for you.
Yeah, it's very hard. It's very therapeutic for me. So for not doing it it's tough. Because it's like a release. It's literally, for me, it's like someone that has to go to the gym. You know?
Yeah.
I wish that was my thing. But I don't feel as good when I don't do it.
Because I feel like I'm carrying this extra weight.
Yeah, that's
like
how I
this
feel.
stuff, and you can write it down all you want and stuff, but it's not the same. Because I'm sure the first time I go back on, I'm just gonna eat shit because I was trying to remember jokes.
Me too.
Like,
I said,
and
I don't have any jokes.
Yeah, I don't. I'm just lost right now.
Thank you so much to all of my Patreon members for supporting the podcast.
All right, hold up. Could you take a little off the P's? You're hitting them too hard. Not action.
Thank you so much to all of my Patreon members for supporting the podcast.
Hold on. Now you're whispering Patreon. Is there a reason you're whispering?
Well, you said to take the p.
Somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
You ready? Action.
Thank you so much to all of my Patreon member.
Now you got to pause.
For those of you who don't know, Patreon members, is that okay?
It was perfect. Why'd you stop?
Oh, okay. Patreon members.
Cut. Let's go back to the beginning.
Thank you
And action.
Thank you so much to all my Patreon members for supporting the podcast. For those of you who don't know, Patreon members get early access to the podcast, ad-free episodes, and access to monthly live streams where we talk more about...
All right, let's take it back to the beginning. That was perfect. Do it exactly like that.
I just did it well, though,
Except
but why are you
finish it this
starting
time.
over? Thank you so much to all of my patron...
Cut. Why are you screaming?
Because I'm just trying to get through this.
Action.
Thank you so much to all of
Action.
Thank you so much to all of my Patreon members. For those of you who don't know, Patreon members get early access to the podcast.
Perfect. Keep going.
There's so many P's.
Keep going. Keep going.
Ad-free episodes.
You could cut this out, right?
For those of you who don't know, Patreon members get early access to the podcast, ad-free episodes, and access to monthly live streams where we talk more about being relatively sane.
Hold up. Did we agree on monthly live streams?
Yes, you told me I should do them because it'll get more members.
I don't know how to do a monthly live stream.
Don't you just talk in your phone?
We'll figure it out. Come on, let's get through this. We have to go. We should speed this up.
All right. Thank you so much to all my Patreon members for supporting this podcast. For those of you who don't know, Patreon members get early access to the podcast, ad-free episodes, and access to monthly live streams. We don't know what that is, but whatever, where we talk about being relatively sane. If you want to join our fantastic community that is so corny, go to patreon.com/Jessica Kirson. That's patreon.com/Jessica Kirson. That's Patreon.
I think you said patriot.com.
Go to patreon.com/Jessica Kirson. That's patreon.com/Jessica Kirson. Patreon.com/Jessica Kirson. Thanks again.
And cut. That's a wrap.
Ugh. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think that we're going to be online doing stuff? Like, do you
I
think...
hope not.
I know.
Even though I do hear some people, like I had a friend do a Zoom show with a live audience, made a couple grand, you know?
You can make a lot of money. You can make a lot of money doing a Zoom show where it's your own audience, meaning you promote it and you can actually hear the audience and they have security. I mean, it's insane what they're already doing.
Have you done it?
I've done a bunch of different situations. I, of course, don't love it, but I've done ones when the worst one I did was when I couldn't see anyone. They screwed up with the video and I literally was looking at the box of myself for a half hour. I don't even look in the mirror. Okay. I had to watch myself do comedy and I didn't hear anything. No sound. That was horrific. That was horrible.
How long did you do?
Half hour. It was horrible.
Oh my gosh.
So, especially because I feed off the crowd a lot. I mean, that's my whole thing and then I've done ones the ones I've had the most fun on where I can hear some of them laughing and I'm able to talk to them while they're in the boxes, like meaning I do crowd work.
Oh, you're brilliant at it.
So thank you. That's fun. That's like,
Yeah.
Dave, could you please close your legs? I mean, that's hysterical because you're seeing people in the videos and I just make fun of them and everyone cracks up because everyone can see it.
Yeah, I had a friend that just did it, made like $3,000, he said.
Mm-hmm.
He says it's tough. It's not the same, but it's like for him, he's like, it's like a weekend. So, and you do it in one Zoom show.
One show.
I think they sell like 50 tickets or 80 tickets at like $20 a piece or 30. I don't know what his thing was, but
well, there's ones where you could sell up to 300 tickets and then you charge,
Wow.
you charge whatever you want. And it's really cool. I mean, I haven't done that yet, but I want to start doing that. I can't, there's people, I've been saying this on some podcasts, but I have some friends that are doing some shows on like the back of a truck. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's too upsetting.
Yeah. But see, my thing is like, I'm not to the point where I want to do Zoom yet because I have faith that it's coming back. And I just got booked on 2 dates. So in Arizona and in West Palm. So it's like, I feel like it's coming back. I have friends that have been out the last 2-3 weekends.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ready to do that yet, but I feel like it's coming back and people want to laugh. And like you said, we're truth tellers.
Yeah.
So I don't think if it was a musician, it would have the same impact as comic because people want to hear what we have to say, but at the same time, they don't want to be preached to for an hour.
I agree. I would never do that. I've never done that, but I feel like within my material, I want to try to say something. I think that's what I mean. Like,
yes.
I don't want to be like, you guys need to be respectful of each other, but within my jokes.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm the especially after I did that podcast with my parents, like, here's what's interesting. My parents are the type of people that never give up information unless you ask. And that's why I love to do podcasts with them because I learned so much stuff that I didn't know. I knew my dad was a protester, but I didn't know the story.
Where did he grow up?
He grew up in Fifth Ward, Texas, where the Ghetto Boys were from.
Ooh.
Yeah. And he, wanted to be Einstein. So, but at that time, what's interesting about what he said was, I said, did you ever face racism? Did you really know about it when you were younger? He's like, no, because we stayed in our own area. He didn't even know he was poor. You know what I mean? Because they didn't leave their own area. He was around
other people like him, so he didn't feel different.
He was in a black neighborhood.
Right. That makes complete sense.
And why would you leave when you have everything there? It's not like he had a car and he studied all the time. So he goes, I didn't even know race. He says, we were lower class, but I didn't even know we were poor because nobody ever left the neighborhood. So he
right, and everyone's the same everyone's on the same level. You don't. Well, that reminds me of the people I grew up with who are mostly wealthy, because some of them don't see what's really going on in other communities, and they're clueless. I'm like, you're not understanding. People fight for a piece of rice. Like you don't understand because you've had everything you've ever wanted and every kind of clothes and any car you want and summer camp and this, and it's like, this is not the real world. But
why George Floyd, I felt, had such an impact, because it's a sad place we're in. But when you see a cop shoot somebody, you've seen it so much where you almost become immune. For people that don't believe the cops first. Like, but here's what's amazing to me.
What about someone who's fucking running away? I'm going to get like, what
I know.
About when I have seen these men walk away with their hands up or
get shot in the back.
Getting shot in the back. How do you, I'm sorry. There's no excuse.
But you know why?
Can't see that.
Because some people will say, well, what did he do? But what I feel,
doesn't matter.
And it's horrible. But what I feel about George Floyd, it was slow.
You're right.
It wasn't quick.
It was, people have said it was torture. That it was torture.
You couldn't look away. And it was 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And you saw the cop look at the camera while he just looked at the camera while he was doing it. And I think even if you're the worst person, now there are some people that are horrible, but even some people that lean that direction, they were like, yo, this is fucked up.
Me too. Anyone who leans in that direction still looked to me and said, this is absolutely horrific.
So I think that's why the movement was, because sometimes you have to slap people in the face with the truth.
Well, people
You
need to
know?
hit a bottom.
Yeah.
That's what addiction is about. You're
And it
not
was a
going to get better or get help unless you hit your own bottom.
And you're coming, everybody's been locked up inside the house.
I know.
It was a perfect storm. You had the pandemic, you had a mod, people were mad about that. And then all of a sudden you're kneeling on a
I have to tell
guy's
you
neck.
that freaked me out really bad also.
A mod?
They both did. Yeah. That was, I swear, I literally felt like I was watching a movie. I was like, am I watching HBO or watching something real? Because this is the craziest thing I've seen in a long, like, that was bad.
And you know what was even crazier to me is that every news outlet used it as B-roll. Like, we've gotten to a place.
I know.
And if you don't know what B-roll is what they show in the background while they're talking. We're watching a man get shot.
Cornered.
Over
like
and
an
over.
animal. An animal. He was literally
an
treated
animal.
like an animal. Yeah.
And it's just B-roll in the background of them talking.
That's
Like,
so
that's
true.
that's how far low we've become, where an announcer is talking and in the background is a guy getting shot being replayed over and over and over again, where before they would never show that. You know?
Do you know that
They would be like,
I have not thought about that, but years ago, not even that long ago.
yeah,
You
no,
wouldn't
not
see
even that
it.
long.
They would
No.
not show. Now, you're right. It's like, maybe that's been since 9/11, because we saw some shit on 9/11, some footage. Like, I saw some stuff that I'll never,
Well,
ever.
it's social media outlets
Yeah.
that put it out too. So you're going to see it. But I'll put it in perfect example. You remember that time, and I don't know, I'm going to get this wrong. It was horrible. Terrorists cut off a dude's head.
Yes, I remember
Back
it
in the day.
very well. I saw
So the
some-
video, but it was hard to find that video.
I know.
Some people saw, but it wasn't everywhere. The news just didn't have it playing in the background.
No, it
You know what I
didn't
mean?
play in the background, period. I remember searching for that. I couldn't even,
Yeah.
I was so flipped out
I
about
couldn't
that.
look. I didn't want to see it, but I know I probably tried searching for it.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't easy to find.
Mhm.
But now we've come to a point in our country where Black people, I don't want to make it a race issue, but a person getting shot is played over and over. And yes, we need to see it. But when you treat it like it's an instant replay on football, like a football game, this is how they score, over and over and over.
That's actually such a good point. Like, I think that's what I mean about writing. It's hard to make stuff like that funny, of course. I mean, this sounds crazy, but that is a very interesting point, and it is something you could put into a bit for anyone,
Oh,
people who
100%.
are listening who don't understand how comedy works. Like, it's so ridiculous that you have to make it funny because it's so ridiculous. It's like, I mean, my children will walk in and see it on TV and be like, I mean, I have a 13-year-old who just look at it and be like, why is that man being shot? Like, it's
and they go, this is a graphic video,
big deal.
basically
Yeah.
it's but you don't just show it once, you show it 1,000 times behind you while you slow it down, you speed it up. Look, I know we need the story and we're more visual because of social media, but give dignity to that man. It's kind of like, if you want to see it more, go to our website, go to our Instagram, go to our, now
Michael
it
just reminded me with the thing with OJ. I don't know why that just came up for me, but I remember seeing the blood, like, and the glove, and I was traumatized.
Yeah.
Now look, now I'm watching someone being choked to death for 8.5 minutes. I mean, it's really different.
But I feel so good about the younger generation.
You
We make
do?
fun of them a lot, but like I tell everybody, my dad went through racism, integration. So I go back to Joe Rogan's joke. He has a joke where slavery, I think he was talking about slavery, but he was talking about the owner that used to own the Clippers, and he said something derogatory about some NBA players, like black this, black that, but he didn't drop the N-word, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he said something interesting. He goes, you got to think, instead of time, think people. My dad, like, for instance, slavery was 250 years ago. People had slaves too. That's only 3 people ago. That's how you need to really look at it.
I look at it like that. I mean, I always.
Me too. Like, if my dad went through it, that means my grandfather went through it. That means my great-great-grandfather went through it. So you can't say that there's no racism. If my dad went through it, now all of a sudden it's gone. But what I think with this newer generation, I think it's going to be 3 to 4 people ahead of us. It'll be in a lot better place because they're seeing everything now. They're seeing the wrong.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be, we won't be around, but 3 or 4 people from now.
And then how it affects the family. Like while you're speaking, I'm thinking about your family and the way your dad grew up. So I know people where their parents and or grandparents were in the Holocaust, were in the camps. Yeah. And I got to tell you, they have very different, like there's a different energy in the family because of that. Like it really affects for generations. It affects the family.
It does. It does. And I think what's great about me being married to a lady, a white lady that's never experienced this, now she's more educated and our kids are going to be. So now like my kids' generation is going to be better than our generation. And we just want to keep making it better and better. And we have, like my dad's biggest thing is he doesn't like when he sees black people on television that says, it's no better than it was in the past. My dad goes, yeah, it is. You can go to restaurants.
Of course it is. It's,
you know, but some people will go to that and it's like, stop saying that because you're discouraging all the people that go, you know, you're kind of like upsetting my dad because he's like, I worked so hard for our people to get to a certain place. Don't say it's like when I was there. Not at all. You could go to any school you want. You could go to any restaurant you want. You could ride the bus. Don't give me this. It's the same. When we went out to go protest, we don't know if we were coming back. Now, when a lot of people go out to protest, it's for an Instagram selfie, you know, don't
take it.
Oh, I can't take it.
How long did he protest for?
They had to protest. I think he said it was like 4 months, 5 months.
Yeah. I'm curious. I'm like, I wonder how long this is going to go on.
Oh, wait, protest now?
No,
or
meaning like, did
protested?
he have to protest ongoing for a long time?
They protested, he said Monday through Friday.
Wow.
They took the weekends off for like 4 to 5 months at this restaurant till they let them in. Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
And there was no violence? I mean, I'm sure there was.
No violence. No.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder how there was no violence. I know maybe in that
It was
area.
in Oklahoma. It was close to a school campus.
Oh.
He says nothing was integrated, but I don't know. Lucky. My dad didn't know. My dad can't answer. I was like, why wasn't it violent? He goes, I don't know.
Doesn't have anger and resentment towards those people.
None.
That's fascinating.
And I always ask, I was like, why don't you? He goes, why would I?
No, is he a spiritual person?
Not at all. He's an atheist. He has a
he has
a PhD in nuclear physics. If I can't see it, it ain't real. If it can't be proven, it's not real. My mom is a Bible beater. Like,
that's fascinating to me. That is an incredible thing to hear about someone who had a protest to go into a restaurant for 4 months and is not resentful.
And he's still alive. And it happened in our time, you know, like.
And now this.
Yeah. So he's so pumped up about what's going on today. He's so proud.
That's so cool to me. I really think that's so interesting.
He went to George Floyd's viewing.
He did?
We're from Houston. So he went to the viewing.
Right. Yes.
And he was like, I have to support this. This is what I marched for. This is for things to get better. And for the uprising we're seeing. And he's so proud of the young people. Like not even my age, people younger than me that are bringing it, that are making the world a better place. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what he looks at. And I think that's why I'm a positive person, because it's easy to get caught in these people are always trying to keep me down. These people, yes, there are systematic injustices going on, but my dad never preached that to me. It was like, be great. You know, don't talk about it.
What an incredible man. I'm serious. That's really rare.
Yeah.
That's really rare.
I mean, it's crazy because I put the clips of him talking on my Instagram page and it just, so many people are moved by his words, and he's a great speaker as well, you know? So it's just, he's amazing. He's an amazing
my mom
man.
is like him in the way that she doesn't hold resentments towards people.
No.
So my dad was, it's a long story, but when my parents split up, my dad was with my stepmother. You know, he ended up being with her. They lived together. My mother was always giving, loving, you know, gave my stepmother hugs and kisses. Like, it was like she wasn't angry and resentful, and people were like, what?
Uh-huh.
How is she so giving and so, even to my father just passed, but my mother, you know, would text my stepmother 2-3 times a week. I'm here. I love you. If you need me. I mean, I'm so grateful I'm from that. But my mom is that kind of person too. I was brought up to just not hold. I try. I'm not like her. I hold on to resentments.
Yeah.
But I'm always amazed by her, because someone could do something horrible and she'll forgive them and just say, just keep plugging away. People aren't perfect. You have to pray for them, and it's great.
I think it's a thing where I don't want to speak for your mom, but they know their mission in life and they know their goals, and it doesn't matter what people do around you, because you're like, all right, but I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. There's a lot of detours that get you off your route, but if you don't take those detours, you stick to your route and you preach what you want to preach,
and you're committed to it. You make it
you don't get lost.
Yeah. That's so true. What does he think about the virus? I'm curious.
He's being very cautious. He's 75, so he's being very cautious.
But what does he think is going to happen? Does he think there's going to be a whole nother wave of it?
He doesn't. You know what? He doesn't even talk about it.
Yeah.
He's in Houston. They just stay inside. Like, you know, I got corona, so you know I was in ICU for 8 days.
I had no idea. I'm so clueless. I
was in ICU. The doctor told me it was so bad. I said, am I going to make it? And he goes, we'll know in 2 days. It was bad. I
have not done a podcast with, I did do it with someone who had it, but they only lost their taste and smell, had fever and were tired or whatever.
No, I was in ICU for 8 days.
What happened to you? I'm curious.
I was at Gotham the weekend before.
Gotham Comedy Club for people. Yeah.
Yeah. I did Wendy Williams. I flew back, got home at 1 a.m., went to Las Vegas that next morning. Then had 3 auditions. I was worn out. And then I got double pneumonia and corona.
Oh.
Self-quarantined for 3 days. Didn't know what it was. I got a fever. And then the 4th day, I couldn't breathe. 911. My wife had to call the ambulance to come get me.
That is so scary. That's so scary. It's so scary when you have children.
Oh,
it's much different. I'm sorry. I know, like, people have children that listen to this. Don't. We both do. It's not about you then when you get that sick. Yeah.
Let me tell you, the thing I remember is when I was laying on my porch, gasping for air, ambulance taking me away. My son is 3 years old and he puts his hand to the window and crying. Like, he didn't know what was going on, but he knew it wasn't good. You know, and that just,
that broke.
And then
your
you're
heart.
in the hospital for 2 days feeling the worst, for 8 days, but for 2.5 of the days, you feel the worst you've ever felt, like you're going to die. And then you go, if this is my last 2 days, I'm going to pass, never seeing my family again because they can't come into the hospital, and feeling the worst I've ever felt. I can't even enjoy this, you know, and it changed my life.
You can't even process it. Yeah, that would change my life too. Yeah. Were you on a ventilator?
No, my doctor said, we're not putting you on one because once you go on one, you die. And I was the first person at the hospital for it. This was early March.
Oh I have a friend who was on one for 2 months and just got out. I have no idea how he's okay. I mean, he went to a rehabilitation center, but they put him in a coma twice. I mean, it was bad.
See, my thing is, I don't know. Like, I know they had the conversation in front of me, because what happens is ventilators were used as last measures. Like, this is what we got to do. But since there was so much unknown, your oxygen levels could be really low, but you could be functioning normally, which doesn't make sense. So they were like, we got to put a ventilator on them. So they put some people on ventilators because we just didn't know before they needed to. And a lot of those people died.
Wait, so your doctor, because of your doctor's decision,
saved my life.
That's so.
I believe.
I do too.
Life.
Yeah, that's intense.
Yeah.
And you didn't even know this, but you just went to the emergency room, and it was just this doctor's decision.
This doctor, and we're still in contact. I still got fluid in my lungs, like 3-4 months later. Like, It's a thing where it's really the luck of the draw who you get, doctor you get. That's how your life. It's crazy. Like if they would have put me on a ventilator, who knows if I would have made it? You know?
You know what's unbelievable is you were just saying that, and then there's people who are like, it's just the flu. It's the flu. Like from what you just said, that's going through my head is all these people that were just like, whatever, the flu goes around. Like you still have fluid in your lungs.
Yeah.
Months later.
I just got an x-ray like 2 weeks ago. I still have fluid in my lungs. And they said it's going to take 6 to 8 months. Now, I got it bad. I was worn down. I got it bad. 80% of the people, it doesn't even affect them.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it to my wife. She beat it in a day. I gave it to my kids, 6-month-old and 3-year-old. I didn't even know I had it. They beat it in half a day. My mom, I gave it to her. She beat it in a half a day. For some reason,
wow,
it really messed me up.
I know.
My doctor said it's almost like in New York, somebody sneezed and I didn't realize, and I walked right into it and got a huge viral. It's almost like somebody sneezed in my face and I didn't realize it. That's how much of it I got.
That is so crazy.
So by the time I got home, I was in New York a whole week before my shows. It was on its downslide in my system. So everybody around me got it really light. Like all the comics that were in the green room didn't get it, you know. It's crazy.
I think it's interesting when I look at those numbers. Like, it's like, are you a part of that number who had it, who was hospital? Like, where are those numbers coming from that we're seeing? Like, this many people had it, because I know a shitload of people who got it who are not in that.
Yeah.
Group.
I mean, the thing is, I believe in this, and I got it really bad. But it's not about the numbers of people that have it. It's about the hospitalizations.
I know.
You know, because if we had 20 million people that had it, but nobody's in the hospital, then it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so testing, like, I don't want people to get that number wrong, but the deaths, every time I see the deaths on TV, I think that would be one more number if I was there. That's how, every time I see it, I go, oh, it could have been, if it was 47, it could have been 48 with me. And it just, every day it keeps me going where I just got to enjoy life and have fun. And it's, you know, but now after talking to my parents, the truth, you know.
Yeah, it's so fascinating. It really is. So what are you working on in LA? Like, what's going on with your career? What are you doing now? Excuse me. I would love you to tell people about your podcast.
You know, I'm waiting to get back on. Yeah, my podcast is the Michael Yo Show. It's really taken off. I've been on Rogan like 3 or 4. It's just taken off after that. I want to have you on as well.
I would love to be on.
Yeah. So I'm doing that. I'm writing Nickelodeon picked up a show about I'm writing a pilot for a Nickelodeon show about my younger life.
That's
growing up, being a
cool.
mixed race kid.
That's
So I'm
great.
excited about that. Well, I really want to affect the young people growing up so they can see a mixed family.
Yeah.
On TV, because we really don't have. You have it's always white and something, or what, you know. It's never like.
I know. It's so interesting because I got a deal, which of course the excuse me, to make a long story short, the pandemic happened and now there's no paperwork yet. But anyway, the deal is with NBC Peacock, and it's about me being in a gay family in suburbia with a divorced, you know, being divorced, all these daughters and all this. But I think it's important for people to see that
representation
exactly
on the screen.
Yep.
So this is going to be, but it's always like every TV show, if it is about a mixed couple, there's always a white person in it. Like, so this is going to be Black and Asian, very representative of my life. And I'm happy about that. And Nickelodeon's excited about that because they want to show that representation on TV. I have a pilot for my adult story that we're putting together right now.
Good.
So I feel really good about it. I feel like, you know, I'm in a good place, and just waking up in the morning is a great thing after going through so that's my thing, is spread love. Let's start all over in 2021. Let's get a new president and we're going to be all good.
Can you be president? Like, you're so
I hope so.
Positive. I'm not kidding.
You know, I was telling my friends, Trump being president, it's the only time you can walk into any room and everybody in that room is like, oh, you know what? I could have been president too. Like, this is the first time that's ever happened. Like, anybody in a room is like, oh, I could be president, you know?
Well, you have such positive energy. It's beautiful and it's rare.
Well, that's what we need.
I know. And that's why it's great you're out there spreading it. Like, it's It's perfect. It's important for you. It's like you said your dad is a speaker, right? My
Yes.
mom is a speaker, and I feel more like I'm a comedian speaker now. I swear, I know it sounds so corny.
No. I always tell people, Joe Coy's my mentor in comedy. I remember the first piece of advice he gave me when I started, because he like took me on tour, everything kind of groomed me. He goes, if you ever sit down, if you ever sit down and write a joke, stop, find a real story and hyping that up. You know, like raise that story. You know, you
That's
don't want to
a very true thing.
And now that's all I do is I talk about family. I talk about different things, and being educated about more with my parents. Now I'm reaching that point where I already know I'm gonna talk about race in mine.
Mm-hmm.
But because I feel like I have a way to talk about race where as long as I'm not yelling at white people saying you're bad, you're an enemy, but I tell my story so they understand.
Yes,
I think
that's good. It's not aggressive. It's you're right. You're educating them instead of saying you need to believe this. And
see, and I think that's what politics is
I
right
know.
now. It's just like you do this, you're this, you're that. Where it's like, hey, here's my story, and after the show, you get all types of people that come up to you, go, hey, I had 5 people in Trump hats come to my show in Kansas City. Sat front row, was expecting me to talk about, didn't even mention them. At the end of the show, I just told my story. At the end of the story, they go, I wish everyone could, we understand where you're coming from now. We wish everybody could talk.
And if you can do that with one person, then you change the world. Yeah.
And that's the power we have.
Uh-huh.
So we have to, I feel like, you know, there are the comedians out there that just bash the audience, whatever, you know, but I think as long as you're bringing it back where, I don't know, I feel like comedians are the people that need to uplift people after this is over. We need to tell the truth. We need to get in their ass, but also at the end, hey, it's going to be better. You know, unless you really think it's going to be.
I do think it's going to be a lot better, but I think it's going to take a minute. I think it's going to be
have so much
breakthrough, but I don't. Yeah,
we have so much power, and we need to make sure we're all using it to the best of our abilities, and not becoming a mini Trump trying to divide rooms. Because you know there are some comedians that try to divide rooms.
Oh, I know that. Trust me, I see it every time I perform.
They'll say stupid shit, like those people that say really fucked up shit just to say it, where there's no joke.
Well, that's like, what I can't stand that. I can't stand people that try to start trouble. It's not okay right now. I mean, it's really, it's actually dangerous. It's come to the point where it's dangerous now.
And you're endangering all the other comics on the show. Right. And people in the audience by saying something like that. And people
believe everything now.
Oh my God.
I mean, they believe it. So if you say something, you got to be responsible.
We could do another hour on that.
I know.
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
I know. Well, I so appreciate you doing this, Michael. You were like, sure, I'll do it. You're so positive. My God, after this whole thing, like, I just need to hang out with you because you have such good energy. Really. Your kids are how old now?
Huh?
How old are your kids?
6 months, my baby girl, and 3-year-old is my son.
So oh my God, that's so perfect.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing.
It's amazing. I have young kids too. I know. It's really, it's exhausting, but it's amazing.
It changes. Yeah. They never stop. Like, I don't understand. If I could have an 1/8 or a 1/10 of the energy my son has, oh my God.
Me too.
Yeah, I wouldn't go to bed at 8:30. I swear to God.
I can't. All I'm doing is playing with frozen dolls with my daughter, and I want to literally dismember both of them and then just burn them in the backyard. I can't. It's just.
You know when you reach that point where even when you don't want to, you're singing all these kids' songs.
I know. I wish no one's ever done that on stage because I do it every day. I'll be in a horrible mood, horrible. I'll be like, twinkle, twinkle. And I hear and I'm doing it out loud. It's not even in my head.
I'm like, hot dog, hot diggity dog. Like, I'm like, what is going on?
Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Like, that's where I'm at right now.
I love that show. I love that Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. It's so cute.
Or the Mickey and the Roaster Race. I am deep in it. I've seen Frozen a million times.
Have you seen Frozen 2? I've watched that so many times. I know the whole movie by heart.
Look, they got the Trolls 2 out.
Yeah, she hasn't
problem
wanted to
is,
watch that yet, thank God.
Don't ever let her watch it because you got to pay $20 every 2 days to watch it. My kid has sucked out $80 of my life. Don't ever let them see that movie until they sell it one time. Literally, my son is Trolls 2. I'm like, oh my God.
I know. And then what do you do? Because they start screaming. You're like, it's worth $20 to shut them up.
It is.
Like, it's worth a lot.
I've spent $80 on it because it's like, shut up already.
Yeah, just to have a day of quiet, I would play it. I would buy it. Yeah, of course.
But this is why they're so smart. They didn't sell it. They just rent it.
That
right
is
now.
Brilliant. That's brilliant.
Brilliant, because they know the kids are going to ask for it over and over again.
That is so funny. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I adore you. I will talk to you very soon. I'm going to reach out to you and just say hi and thank you for doing this. It was so interesting. Really, you talked about so much stuff that no one has on this podcast, and I'm happy about it.
I love being on your podcast. I'm a big fan of your stand-up. You crush, you destroy every time I see you. So I'm so happy to be a part of this, and I can't wait to have you on mine.
Awesome. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, honey.